I stand before you here today in the midst of gnarly times.
Welcome to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. If you'd be so kind, would you mind introducing yourself?
Oh yeah, hi, my name's Patrick Fiorentino, and I'm the drummer in a black metal band out of Portland called Drouth. That's Portland, Oregon.
And do you consider Drought to be specifically about a black metal band? Or would you say that you guys have a lot of other influences besides just black metal?
Yeah, I mean, we, of course, like it's just, it's kind of cliche to say, like we don't try to, hold ourselves to any kind of standards or any sort of like formulas or anything. So we kind of try to play music that of course that we want to hear and that we want to play. But yeah, so definitely if we were to put it into a label or a genre, it'd be definitely like a death metal, black metal kind of. Yeah, but I mean, we have like lots of influences, and a lot of it's just more about, yeah, just like making sure that we're expressing what we want to do, kind of with this kinds of music.
So let's go over the history of the band a little bit. Are you from Portland originally?
So me, I grew up in Kodiak, Alaska, actually.
That's a very black metal sounding place.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the new end of black metal, I guess. It's like the same kind of like latitude, longitude. It was like, all those places. It's definitely kind of drove me towards extreme music and just playing for yourself, So it's like a lot of it's kind of about that. It's kind of a very personal thing, and we can do that, I guess, because we've kind of chosen to play like a type of music that's not really going to get us the pay for our home payments or whatever you have to do. Like it's kind of more about having this artistic outlet and stuff like that. So
when did you end up moving to Portland?
yeah, so I kind of moved to Portland. Well, I moved to Seattle first. I kind of grew up in Kodiak, was playing since I was 10 years old, just playing drums, and then ended up kind of just going, kind of definitely was a driving force in my life, was being able to be near a music scene and stuff like that. So the closest city was Seattle, and I moved to Seattle first and was in a couple death metal bands there, some like grindcore bands. Was kind of like, yeah, really involved in the scene up there, but then ended up kind of just going through some family things, and then ended up moving to Portland about like, I guess 8 years ago now. So around like 2012, 2013.
Drought was originally formed by Matt Sticker under the name of Contempt. How did you end up meeting him?
Basically, I returned kind of from this like hiatus, basically to take care of family, and moved to Portland and just kind of was working and just kind of looking for a band. Just had my drum set in my apartment, like just checking in with my neighbors. There's just kind of a townhouse, I guess, and just kind of looking for bands. But like, I don't know, like there's always just a specific kind of like music I want to like put my like all my efforts into. So it's, being picky. But ended up, I think through a mutual friend, just was kind of like, told that to try out for Contempt or to talk to them. And I went and like learned a couple of songs off the Skinwalker. I guess that's an EP. And went and tried out and met them, and just like, and then I ended up, I think, seeing one of their last shows at this venue here in Portland called The No. And it was kind of like pretty awesome, like iconic venue, but it got, of course, got whatever the things that happen eventually, or, like shut down for whichever reason. I ended up seeing them there, and I was just like, this is awesome. Like, this is intense. Like, there was definitely a performance kind of going on within the music as well. And I could see that like Matt was like, just a killer performer and killer musician. So I was like, yeah, I should join this band,
After releasing the Skinwalker EP, Contempt changed their name to Drouth. Did the change in band name reflect a change in intention or purpose within the band?
Yeah, I definitely believe it. Of course it did, because it was just kind of, there was a lot of things like kind of me joining the band and the want to kind of like move, like just continue to move forward, like when we're, like when we're writing songs, it kind of just, like it's just like we want to create and kind of keep moving though and keep creating, because it's like a song can capture kind of a thought or a moment in your life or whatever it is, but you don't have to like hold on to that. So we like to just keep moving. So I think that was kind of part of that, and then just being able to actually give the band kind of all it was like, all it like could potentially get, as far as like just trying to form our own kind of name and everything like that. Because Contempt is also kind of used by some other punk bands in the UK and some stuff like that. And we wouldn't want to like, step on toes and stuff like that and like disrespect or whatever. Because like I think there's like a pretty prominent band called that. So that was like one of the reasons, just stuff like that. And then wanting to just kind of see what we kind of all would kind of agree upon too in this new kind of version of the band.
Why did you settle on the name Drouth?
I think it was just the name that we all didn't completely hate. Like one of us would be like, you have like the best name in the world and you like bring it up and they're like, I don't like it. And you're like, So then, there's a lot of names, of course, that are taken. Of course, we're in this age of, growing up in high school, I guess when the internet kind of, we didn't have things like Metal Archives or this other stuff. So, you can just pick a name and sometimes you like find a band that's on the other side of the country and you take it personally or not take it personally, but you're like, oh no, this other band's competing with us, when they're like, probably doesn't really matter. But what I'm saying is that it's hard to come up with band names,
A lot of people don't remember that there are actually 2 Slayers at one point.
Yeah, of course. Like there's just so many kind of instances of stuff like that. And when it's like, does it really matter? Like, are we really trying to be Nike or like something like that? Like you can have your, it's just some label for a group that's, but copyrights and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, like, yeah, like Drouth kind of, I mean, it's from like kind of a, means drought and stuff like that. It's almost like maybe like a Gaelic or, some just kind of an archaic. It was like also used kind of, I think at the, the beginnings of the country and stuff like that, like in the South and stuff like that, like talking about certain like dry spells or famines or whatever. So it's just kind of, yeah, just felt like that was the one that we all really felt good about. And that's kind of it's all about kind of having, it's nice to have everyone 100% in, like especially when you're in a collaborative group of any kind. It's really nice to have everyone be able to feel really good about it. So I guess that was the one that we could all kind of feel good about.
How would you describe the difference between the music made under the name Contempt, I guess that EP that you released under the name Contempt, and your music now is Drouth?
So I have like learned a few of those songs, so that's kind of after I joined. But those songs are they're definitely still kind of has a lot of that essence kind of in the music we're doing now. But we definitely hit a point, I would say, that was more after like Vast Loathsome, that we actually kind of made a big, like a kind of an actual like conscious switch of like intent, basically what we wanted to do. And like Contempt was kind of definitely part of that, where it was more of a kind of a doom and a rhythmic and like this kind of like these big kind of moments, and there's a lot kind of more like post-punk and hardcore kind of elements. And that was kind of, based on what they were writing and what everyone else in the band at the time wanted to do. Yeah, basically with Contempt, yeah, it had a lot more elements of these bigger kind of doom moments, and yeah, some hardcore elements and some kind of like, I guess, post-punk almost at some points. And we kind of carried that through into like Vast Loathsome. But I guess like when I joined, it's just like I really love to play blast beats. So that was definitely just like, just joining and being like, do you want me to emulate kind of what the old drummer was doing? Do you want me to kind of play what I would kind of put over these songs or whatever? And like it's always been really great kind of working with them, with Matt specifically, and like the various members we've like had. But yeah, so kind of when I joined, we definitely started adding a lot more fast and aggressive and really like just blast beats. Yeah, and then I feel like after kind of Vast Loathsome, when we were trying to write new music, we definitely hit a point where we were just like I like come from like grindcore, like death metal, like just this like a background of like really fast and aggressive stuff, and I'm like, and I really love like a lot of music, but like as far as like what I want to play, is like just in a very aggressive style. That's where I find my favorite moments. So yeah, I think we reached this point where we're just like, I think kind of black metal and stuff like that, like it has formulas, like a lot of styles, like they'll have these parts that you really want to hear that kind of show up, in a lot of bands, and they're like really great, and they're like, fantastic riffs. I guess we just wanted to just try to like not necessarily avoid that, but also just not try to play into that, try to just really think about like what what kind of rhythms and what kind of songs and like moments do we want to build kind of like in each piece. So I feel like with Knives, Labyrinths, Mirrors are like first kind of full length. With that's kind of when we start fully like kind of capturing just a very aggressive kind of style, I guess.
addition to getting faster and integrating more black metal elements into the songwriting, I think there's also a movement towards longer songs and less traditional structures. Was that intentional, or did that just come about naturally?
It's kind of just the thing that it definitely comes naturally, because there's times where we're like, hey, let's try to write let's write a short song. And then it's like 9 minutes long or something. We're like, So things like that definitely happen like pretty naturally. And then this style of music we're playing, this like obscure black metal, like it's definitely for like, it's for us, it's for us, and it's for people who really enjoy it. So it's kind of like, you can kind of, I feel like you have more freedom. Like if we're not trying to be kind of, I mean, God, this is also cliche, but I guess like I definitely kind of we do try to like, just get away from like exactly what we'd want, or exactly what you would like predict, I guess, predictability kind of, but it's not even that, because we do want to like make sure that each kind of, that's not just kind of a riff salad, but just exploring those things too, I guess, like making mistakes. Like we try to practice quite a bit. We all like love to kind of be in the room. So a lot of it kind of comes from that too.
Do you guys write in the room together, or do you like trade riffs back and forth over email and stuff like that?
I mean, so this is all like the pre-Rona, of course, the before time. So like basically we'll do things like different kind of a few different ways, like I guess, but usually, yeah, Matt will kind of have he'll have an idea, or he'll have like an entire kind of song, and then we'll just kind of like, it'll be kind of like these chunks, and then we'll kind of like form them together, form the transitions. Like he might, like he's always receptive to kind of how we want to play kind of together with what he's doing, and sometimes it just turns into something that's just way different than like exactly what he had envisioned. But it's definitely good to just kind of like start somewhere, like that's definitely the toughest part, I feel like, about writing songs, is just like starting, like anything, I guess. So I feel like when someone creates something, especially someone who I like to work with and I trust, it's just like, okay, let's just go with it. Like instead of being like, oh, that's not exactly what I had in mind, you just kind of build off of it, instead of, because it just takes a lot to start to like press the pencil to the paper.
Is Matt responsible for most of the songs?
Like there's always just a gray area, especially just because it's like we're writing them together. There's moments that come about that are from the drums or from the bass or but I feel like for the most part it's definitely him and John. John has definitely he's been contributing a lot, but for the most part, kind of before he joined, a lot of that kind of went onto Matt's shoulders. And mainly it's just because he's just very ambitious. So he wants to keep writing, and so do I. So I'm just like, hey, like, let's do it. But no, I believe there was like quite a bit of collaboration between kind of Matt and John with the guitar parts. Yeah, it's usually just kind of forming a lot of it kind of together.
At the end of July, Drouth released what is, I believe, your second album. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's their second full length.
Tell me about Excerpts from a Dread Liturgy.
This is kind of just like a continuation, kind of after we felt like we've begun to actually become like a pretty well-oiled machine at this point too. Like we're doing tours, we're all like communicating very well together, we tour very well together, we have like a lot of fun, we show up on time to practices, we're like very consistent. And I feel like a lot of those are just like, can be pretty important, like especially just for longevity, because you're not getting tired of each other. So we actually kind of wrote this record, and then we did like a tour, I believe, last summer to like Texas and back. And I think it was like a week and a half. And so when we got back, and then we recorded basically like, it was actually, we tracked drums. The first day of tracking was on my birthday, August 2nd. So it was like, and that's like great. Like, I'm just like, cool, my birthday, perfect thing to be playing drums, tracking drums today. Yeah, I mean, I guess just writing it was really trying to make sure that we all were really kind of going for it, like really figuring out what we wanted to do, what we wanted to play, different, like trying to be just really collaborative, like with the new group. Like it's kind of after Knives, Labyrinths, Mirrors, we basically, our bass player and our guitar player quit and it was kind of like a multiple reasons, but it was like nothing really, like we kind of like, we maintained friendships and everything like that, but it was just like they kind of just, wanted to part ways. But that's kind of really tough for a band to kind of lose two members. So, and like we had just made the record, and kind of keeping in the spirit of like just continuing forward, we just like we're like, hey, you know what, we're gonna find some new members, and we're just gonna write new songs. Like just because like, when you're playing music like this, that's like intense and kind of, we're not like doing big tours. We're not being able to pay like people like to bring in new members. It's kind of like, hey, we want them to be a part of that, if they want to be. So we wanted to kind of start fresh. So we kind of like started writing like new songs pretty quickly. Yeah, and basically just wanted to do a batch of like pieces that were all kind of like written together, written to kind of chronicle like that moment in our lives. Like sometimes you can take years to write a record, but sometimes it's nice to do it quickly and really capture what's going on. And you can really like kind of more pinpoint what was going on with these records. I've done a few like that where I'm just like it's really cool to look back, I guess, because it's like instead of being this long drawn out thing, yeah, you're like, that's it, like we just did it. Maybe it's not perfect, but it's like you captured it, and you keep going. So yeah, it was great. I mean, we tracked again we go to our friend Fester, recorded a lot of amazing bands like out of Portland and all over. Like he's done like a lot of like Uznia records and Burials. He's actually one of the members of the band's Burials, which is like incredible death metal, like just I don't know. They're one of the best bands in town. Anyway, it was great to work with him again. He's just he's a guitar wizard, so it was really great to kind of always get to kind of like collaborate with him.
So, as you mentioned, this will be the first album with your new guitarist and bassist, John Edwards and Tyre Wolf. Tell me how you met them, and how would you describe their contributions to this album?
So it's pretty funny to like, yeah, working with Fester, basically mixing through Knives, Labyrinths, Mirrors. We're in the mixing room with him, and we're like, hey man, like, our guitarist, our other guitarist just quit. He's just like looking at the monitor, doing his thing, and he's like Beach, John Beach. That's what John goes by. Beach metal. He's like, beach metal. That's your man. His band just broke up. Like he's in the band called Satanarchist. It's like a 2-man kind of death metal band and death metal punk. And like the drummer ended up moving to the East Coast kind of right around this time. And like, yeah, so it was actually just super perfect. But it was just funny. He's just like, yep, he's your man. And then basically when we were looking for bass players around the same time, he's like longtime hometown friend, Tyler Wolf's, and like he was just it's another great fit, and just like it's just really important to make sure that we had people who wanted to be in the band, that really wanted to be a part of like even if we even offered John, we're like, hey, should we start a new band? Should we like change the name? Like, what do you think? Like we don't even care. Like, let's just. And he's like, nope, it's good. And we're like, okay, like, do you want to play shows soon, or should we just like write new songs? So then that's kind of when we started. We built like a new set that was like maybe 15 minutes long that we started playing shows with, 15, 20 minutes. And we included one of the old songs with that from Knives. And yeah, but it was just great. It was like, yeah, so their contributions were, it's just awesome having people really excited to be in the band. Great to communicate with. We're all kind of like getting to be veterans at this point. So it's like, you just kind of like learn how to work together and how to like not get on each other's nerves, and how to have fun, how to chill out. Yeah, so same thing with Tyler. Was basically he was just recommended by John, and he was like another guy from North Portland up here, and just like basically just the same thing, like just super excited to be in the band, super just glad to be there, can tour, we'll make it work. We're feeling really good. I think everyone's feeling like their voice is heard. Like we make sure that we're just like, hey, like if we play a show and like you don't want to do it for any reason, we don't care if it's like the biggest show, my favorite band. If one person's like, I don't want to do it, I can't do it, it's like, cool, like we're not gonna do it. No big. It's like we don't want to do it if it's not like just 100% in, no matter what it is, I guess.
Did Tyler and John join immediately after your previous album?
Yeah, they joined like I think around 2018, kind of around maybe around the beginning of the year.
And you guys went into the studio with Excerpts, as you mentioned, in August of 2019. So it sounds like this album came together pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the timeline, yeah. I think it's like they actually might have joined basically like the winter of like 2018, 2019 we wrote, and then we recorded in August. Yeah, so it was just kind of like really kind of when they joined, we just got to just hit the ground running.
This will be your first album for Translation Lost, right?
Yeah.
How did they get involved with the release?
Basically, we just wanted to hold on to it. We wanted to get it done and then really try to kind of like plan the release in a smart way and kind of try to find some support. We had actually talked to Drew before about the previous album, but we like ended up not being able to kind of work with them for that. But it kind of ended up being like, I don't know, it was like kind of like worked out in the end because we feel really great about like, well, of course, Corona times, but before that, the anticipation and kind of like planning was looking like it was going to be a really great kind of collaboration with them as well. But yeah, so he's just kind of always been interested in working with us. We kind of have like a little bit of a family with like Matt kind of working together with Drew and some ties like that.
Working together meaning, did Matt do artwork for the label? Because I understand Matt is an illustrator.
Yeah, so really, yeah, Matt's a incredible illustrator, to like put it lightly. And that's like, we're very fortunate to kind of have him in the band, but he's just like such a hard worker and like, just super incredible artwork. I think it's like Matt's sticker or a bargain bin blasphemy on Instagram there. Yeah, he is just like incredible art. He's done it for a bunch of like local bands and also just like a lot of bigger bands, and just he's just always working. He's definitely drawing right now, which is probably why he couldn't be on this call. So
you mentioned Matt and Drew from Translation Lost had a previous relationship.
Yeah, exactly. So we like kind of just, I guess there's a lot of kind of things coming together because just like from us doing shows, playing in Philly, Drew actually, I believe he plays drums in Starkweather, which is like, we've had some communications with, I believe, the singer of that band in the past about like doing reviews and stuff like that. And like, it's just kind of like we have this Philly Portland kind of connection that's, I don't know, like sister cities or something. At least for a time, seemed like it.
Okay. Was there any other connection between Matt and the label?
So yeah, not really exact. I think like
they just knew you guys. Is that it?
Yeah, they knew each other from like working together as far as like artwork and stuff like that. And then yeah, just kind of like we have a lot of friends kind of on the label already. I had actually played on like the first Vermin Womb record, which is like a grindcore band out of Denver, and they're like Translation Lost has like been releasing their like more newer records, stuff like that. Just like we have like just so many friends kind of and it kind of like their label seems to just have these like really cool like weird bands that we're like really into, and then a lot of their current releases are just like mind-blowing, so it's been really kind of great to be a part of that.
Is there any release in particular that you like that came out recently?
I'm trying to think of like what came out like just immediately on them. I mean, there's like a lot of, they're actually picked up Asitas, which is like another kind of local Portland band that we've actually played with before, and he picked up their new record. Yeah, so it's really cool to be kind of with them. And they also have like support Intronaut and like this band called Wake. It's a grindcore band out of Canada.
Yeah, that Wake album is pretty great.
Yeah, that new Wake is incredible. Like the Cetus is like amazing. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff to kind of get to be a part of, and like just communicating with the team has been really, really great. We all like seem to kind of have the same kind of vision and the same kind of, I guess, like, I don't know, just the same kind of culture, which is just really great.
Cool. So the second Drouth album is called Excerpts from a Dread Liturgy, and it's out now through Translation Lost Records. What is the best way for people to order this?
Yeah, so the best way would be to check out drouth.bandcamp.com/merch is where you can find, we have vinyl, we have a bunch of like great t-shirts. Yeah, I mean, just being able to work with Matt and just being able to really get a lot of cool designs. We try to not do a lot of reprints, so we kind of just continue to move forward. So it's like, we're hoping one day just to have a huge back catalog and just be like, all right. So yeah, or you can also go check out translationlost.com and you can order the record there too. It might be easier for international, but you can always just support the band directly at drouth.bandcamp.com.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about the special vinyl edition that came out for the album?
Yeah, so are you talking about like the pre-order?
I'm seeing...
Or just our...
I'm seeing a limited edition black and white splatter vinyl.
Yeah, these are all like Translation Lost is just really, really awesome kind of vinyl, like vinyl releases. Like they really like to make each vinyl itself even be like just kind of its own unique thing. So yeah, we have basically for this first press, this is kind of black and white. Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly how to explain it. It's kind of like almost feathery in a way, but
yeah, it's like I've seen a few, maybe Translation Lost does a lot of these, but I've seen a few splatter vinyl releases, and this one is black and white, so it looks a little bit like a Jackson Pollock painting or something like that.
Yeah, it almost has some sort of quality like that. Like it almost looks like a kind of obscure eyeball too if you look at it.
That's true. Yeah, with the Drouth label in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, with the Drouth label.
And besides the Bandcamp page, how can people follow Drouth online?
Yeah, so you can definitely find us on Facebook and on Instagram, which is our Instagram is at DrouthXDeath, all lowercase, all one word. Yeah, DrouthXDeath. And then, I believe our Facebook might be Drouth PDX or something. But we also have, in addition to the album, I just spilled the beans. We released a video for one of our songs called An Apiarist. I'm not sure if you got to check that out, but it's on YouTube. I think it's at the Trends.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, tell me about the video.
Yeah, so that's actually worth talking about because, so basically we were set to release this record. We signed, and talking to Drew and talking to the team. And then coronavirus lockdown kind of hits, and like I was actually on tour with a different band playing at festivals with a death metal band called Autophagy playing in Mexico City, kind of the weekend, like Friday the 13th weekend was when that initial kind of US lockdown went down. So it was kind of course, surreal to kind of be in a different country and then have to go through that and kind of, wait and get on my ticket, get home. Just like that initial thinking back, quarantining immediately, and then trying to be like, I guess real life continues on. Like, is the album still happening? Like, I don't know. Like, so kind of with all that and like, that's it's a really unfortunate time. And then there's also, just like a big like kind of civil rights movement also happening, that we don't want to like take away from in any way. So it's definitely an interesting time to be putting out a record. But I guess that's just going to be great to kind of think about just being like, whoa, this came out at this time. That's wild. But yeah, so to try to figure out how to continue to be a band, how to keep making any sort of like movement to kind of like keep ourselves busy, like we do this music, we play music kind of to keep from going crazy. So we're like, how can we be creative? And basically ended up chatting with our friend Brendan McGowan, who's actually like a filmmaker out of New York, and also like a incredible like black metal musician, drummer, singer, guitarist. Like, ended up just chatting with him, kind of catching up. We ended up touring, doing the full U.S., and we ended up touring and playing in New York City, in Brooklyn, with his like one-man black metal band called Papacy. But then he like got a backing band just to play this show with us, like because we ended up like just looking through New York bands and being like, this band's awesome, like what are you guys doing, play a show with us. And we didn't really realize that it was a one-man band, and he like put together this band, but ends up his backing band is guys from Imperial Triumphant, and like meeting them, and they're all super nice and super incredible musicians. So it was just like, that was just an epic night, especially for us kind of being in New York City. It's definitely it's always a trip for me. I grew up on a small island in Alaska, so it's like, whoa, but it's, it's great to travel. Yeah. So anyway, we ended up kind of reconnecting, talking about that, being like, that was a great show. Whoa. Like, it's so cool to see what Imperial Triumphant's doing. Like, they're incredible bands. Just like, duh. And he's like, hey, like, if in the future you guys want to do a video, like, let me know. And it was just like, I'm just like, well, yeah, let's talk about it actually. Like, what do we do? And ended up kind of like chatting with him about that, the logistics. Just like, no, like, what do we actually do to make it happen? Like, just like, yeah, we can chat about stuff, but like, we want to do it. Let's do it right now. So yeah, it was great. Like, we kind of met up with the guys, chatted with them, and was just like, I don't know, what do you think about doing a video? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. Like, that's the only thing we can do. So We met up, whenever the logistics, like it's just great to kind of have a team like the other members in Drouth that are just like, I definitely like trust them if they're like, that's a great idea, let's do it, or if that's a bad idea. But it's cool to kind of, if you come up with something to get that support. So yeah, we just basically made the plan, end up flying Brandon out. It was kind of, a lot of it came together pretty quickly, and it involved, we basically just wanted to build a really weird kind of structure like John Beach Metal. He's got a lot of experience in building like haunted houses and just building like all sorts of stuff with his hands. He's like an incredible woodworker, but like other than that, he's like, he's built a lot of like haunted houses and practical effects, stuff like that. So we ended up just like meeting up and just building some like, just kind of these like hellscape kind of sculptures. And we just kind of wanted to like, we kind of like came up with a bunch of other elements. The kind of one of the main themes of this song, it's entitled like an Apiarist. So it's about like a beekeeper. So we definitely wanted to capture kind of the idea of bees, but also just kind of the idea of like how just like humanity, can like look in like in its forms of decay can look very similar to like the animal world decaying as well. Like the guts of a house, like falling apart, and the dripping like insulation out of the side of it can look just like the decaying whale, and stuff like that. It's a 10-minute long song. Like we didn't have like a lot of preparation and stuff like that, but we really kind of, what we did with the little time we had, I think was like really cool, and it was a lot of work. But like that was kind of just, I guess that's just kind of the essence of things, is just kind of like just grabbing it and going for it, just like, so I really enjoy kind of the video. It's it's just 10-minute long, so it's a stretch, and it's really kind of like atmospheric and really kind of something to get like really stoned and throw on a big projector, and just kind of like zone out to this song, like I think this might have been one of the songs where like, oh, we're gonna write a short one, and it ends up being like 10 minutes long, and I'm like blast beats like, most of it. But I think you can find that at the Translation Lost YouTube channel.
Did you film the video this year?
Yeah, so a little look behind the veil. Yeah, we shot all this like basically a few months ago. And
as you mentioned, John created some set pieces for the video. Did the director fly out from New York to film with you guys?
Oh yeah, he did.
Wow. Yeah, I did see the video. It's definitely cool. Is that something that you guys are interested in exploring more in the future?
Yeah, I think it definitely kind of started an idea, especially looking into what the future of, being in a band might actually look like. It definitely kind of was like indicating what we could do kind of as a team in such a little time with like kind of such little resources. And like, so yeah, we're definitely thinking about kind of what else we can do, like what we can accomplish with like, with just like even a little bit more. And we definitely want to explore more. We've definitely always been kind of a visual band, of course, like having the art and all that. And like, we really want, we kind of really want to like offer that kind of feeling, and that kind of like, like really offer like a visual kind of experience as well. So it's just like, and kind of just seeing how those can come together. It's definitely kind of, I guess, crack the seal on being able to like, continue to do maybe more videos or films. Yeah. And I'm definitely looking forward to it, because it was actually really, really fun to kind of be working really hard kind of for that goal. But it's just, it's like definitely always being in a band is like hard work, but it was cool to kind of have another way to kind of work on a band.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I don't know. I'm kind of I guess I've been talking a lot. The drummer, dude. I'm pulling the drummer talker. No, definitely like, thank you so much for, for having me on, representing Drouth and all that. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Listen to your show. Yeah, I think it's really great. So I know it's a lot of hard work and all that. Yeah, I hope you can continue to do it. They're having fun doing it.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.